Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome inside Pheno Field here in Milford, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Once again, this is Tim Coet on the call, continuing our early season coverage of the 2018-19 spring sports year. Our first coverage of the Milford Scarlet Hawks baseball team as the boys enjoy their home opener here at Pheno Field this afternoon, and they will host a Davenport Division rival in the Foxboro Warriors. Milford comes into the matchup today with a 1-1 record so far on the season. Foxborough has started off a little bit tough on the year, 0-3 coming into action here today. But for Milford, it's been pretty good results overall. Despite the 1-1 record, they started off very strong out of the gates. They enjoyed their 2018-19 season opener last Thursday on the road against Sharon and pretty much passed the test with flying colors, a 9-0 victory. Dominant starting pitching out of Danny Corsini in that game, and the Milford offense was pretty even up and down the lineup, putting up runs early and often against Sharon and ultimately walking away with a 9-0 victory. They then followed up that game with a very tough matchup this past weekend down in Taunton, taking on the defending Division 1A Super 8 champions, the Franklin Panthers. And it was a game that Milford had right there for the taking all the way through. They led the game right from the early innings, but Franklin was ultimately able to stage a comeback in the late innings, scoring a couple of runs in both the 6th and 7th innings to sneak away with a 5-4 win. But Milford standing very tall against the Super 8 champs. So again, a very good early season test for this team, and despite the loss, they certainly matched up very well with that very tough Franklin team. So looking to get back up over the 500 mark today as they take on again the 0-3 Foxboro Warriors. This matchup has been pretty even in the last couple of years. These teams typically splitting their season series, so we'll see which team is able to get off to a strong start here today. Good conditions overall here at Pheno, a little bit breezy and cool, but plenty of sunshine, and happy to get this game underway in just a moment here on Milford TV. After a couple of rainy and gloomy days, the clouds parting and the sun coming out just in time to get our first taste of baseball of the season here at Pheno Field. The Scarlet Hawks have now taken the field in their brand new home uniforms, a series of new uniform looks for the Scarlet Hawks this season, and a classic pinstriped look with the red Milford across the chest for the Scarlet Hawks here today as they are out there on the field getting set to go. And before we get the first pitch of this game, let's bring you the starting lineups for these two teams. First, for the visitors from Foxborough, it is the starting pitcher Anthony Malika leading it off, with the shortstop Thomas Marcicella batting second. Michael Devlin plays center field and bats third, with Joe Cavallari, the third baseman, batting fourth. The catcher Kyle McGinnis bats fifth, with Sean Yost, the first baseman, batting sixth. Batting seventh is the left fielder James Kaiser, with the right fielder Brian Duncan batting eighth. And in the ninth spot, playing second base, is Adam Lanktot. And for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, their starting lineup looks like this. Nick Marcolini leads it off in center. Matt Shaver plays shortstop and bats second, with Colby Perez in the number 3 spot playing third base. The catcher Tyler Almeida bats fourth, with Danny Corsini, the starting pitcher, batting fifth. Nicholas Wimet plays first base and bats sixth, with Carter Scudo in at left field batting seventh. Luke Rosa is your right fielder batting eighth, and in the ninth spot is the second baseman Justin Appleby. And your pitching matchup in this one, both pitchers also in their respective starting lineups. It will be Anthony Malika towing the rubber for Foxborough, but out there right now, set for his second start of the 2019 season, is the senior captain Danny Corsini. And as we mentioned, a very good start for Danny in his first start of the year, not allowing any runs in 6 innings of work against the Sharon Eagles, and looking to continue that early season trend as he faces off against this Warrior offense here today. And without further ado, the first pitch ready to be fired in this game, and it misses up high for ball one. Right now, taking a look at that flagpole out in left center field, blowing straight out. So if anyone can get a ball up into that breeze, it might get a little bit of an extra boost, but ball's typically not traveling very well at Pheno Field at this early springtime of the year. 2-0 pitch into the leadoff hitter. Anthony Malika is in for a strike. Malika, a seasoned veteran multi-sport star for Foxborough. We last saw him on the basketball court, where he was a major factor for the Warriors. A lot of clutch shots this season on the court for Foxborough. Count now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And back into the windup. Corsini's next pitch is waved at and missed for strike 3. Briefly out of the glove of Tyler Almeida, but he fires down to first base to complete the strikeout for the first out of this top of the first inning. Defensively for the Scarlet Hawks, they look like this. Tyler Almeida behind the plate, Colby Perez at third, Matt Shaver at short, Justin Appleby at second, and Nicholas Ouimet at first. Left to right in the outfield, Carter Scudo, Nick Marcolini, and Luke Rosa, all in support of Danny Corsini, now set to face his second batter of the inning. It is Thomas Marcaccello, the shortstop, and he takes it inside for a ball. Foxborough already 3 games deep into their regular season, still looking for their first victory. The 1-0 pitch is chopped on the ground towards short. Waiting for it is Shaver, and he fires low to first base. It cannot be picked by Ouimet. And now the runner down to second base. Here comes the throw in from the catcher. It's not going to be in time. There's a little bit of interference, unintentionally so, as Ouimet sprawled out to corral that ball. He ended up making contact with the runner, but Marcaccello was still able to get up and make his way to second base safely. That ended up being a bit of a slow roller, and after a couple of days of rain here in Milford, the infield turf might be a little bit slick, might be a little bit slow. And so perhaps that was a factor for Shaver, who's typically sure-handed at shortstop, but a bad throw there. May very well go as a single and an error, so a 1-out runner in scoring position, and now this first pitch is sent a tricky spot through the hole on the right side of the infield, and the runner now around from second base. The cutoff man will not fire to the plate, and a perfect placement for that ground ball for Michael Devlin, just trying to roll it over to move the runner along. Instead, places it just out of the reach of both first and second baseman, and as a result, Foxborough is able to manufacture a run to take a 1-0 lead. So the single and the E6 setting up the runner in scoring position, and then Devlin with just a little roller through that right side ends up bringing the runner around. Once it got past the glove of Justin Appleby, you knew it was going to be trouble. It was a good throw from Rosa out in right field, but cut off on the infield. So already a 1-0 deficit as Devlin is now at first base, Joe Cavallari at the plate. Still just 1 out in the inning. Runner takes off as the pitch misses, and the throw from Tyler Almeida is not a good one. Now the runner continuing on to third base. No throw into third. And right now Foxborough making things happen on the bases, forcing Milford to make mistakes, and they've made a couple now in this top of the first inning. So it will be a stolen base for Devlin. And then the second Milford error of the inning on the throw from the catcher sends the runner on to third base. So now another potential run standing at third. And the pitch now popped up out into left field. Over goes Scudo towards the line. Tagging at third base is Devlin. The catch made. Here comes the throw in from Scudo. Cut off at the shortstop position, as sliding in safely to the plate is Devlin with the second run of the inning. And you can credit Joe Cavallari with the sacrifice fly. That gives Foxborough now a 2-0 lead. And the bases are now empty for Foxborough with 2 outs. So Corsini, after pitching 6 scoreless innings, his first time out, allowing a couple of runs. Already here in the first, trying to end it here as he fires outside to Kyle McGinnis, the catcher. One of the runs in this inning unearned. Two hits in the frame so far for the Warriors as that pitch misses, and already down 3-0. Corsini in danger of allowing the 2-out walk. And that pitch hits the bottom of the strike zone to bring it to a 3-1 count. And the next pitch misses high for ball 4, so there is the 2-out base on balls. McGinnis now down to first base. So a couple of runs, a couple of hits, a strikeout, and now a walk in this inning, and Foxborough will have a chance to bring their 6th man to the plate in the first baseman, Sean Yost. A quick check over at first base, and McGinnis able to get back standing. McGinnis, the catcher over there at first base, not typically a base-stealing threat, but you never know at the high school level. As this ball is grounded foul wide of third base, scooped up by the third base coach for Foxborough. Head coach for the Warriors is Derek Suez, and of course for the Scarlet Hawks, Alex Dion back now for his second season at the helm of the program. This is a little tapper hit back out to the pitcher's mound, a brief bobble for Corsini, but he's able to recover to fire to first base in time to get the out that ends the inning. But some sloppy play on the infield for the Scarlet Hawks helps Foxborough plate 2 runs in the inning. And so after a half an inning of play, it is a 2-0 lead for the Warriors. Milford will take their first swings of the game when we come back next here on Milford TV. Bottom of the first inning now in Milford. The Scarlet Hawks already with a deficit to overcome as the Foxboro Warriors jump out to a 2-0 lead. Milford will send their top 3 hitters to the plate. Nick Marcolini, Matt Shaver, and Colby Perez in this home half of the first against the starting pitcher for the Warriors, Anthony Malika. He was part of that top of the first inning, struck out to open the ball game against Corsini, but from there, a couple of hits and a couple of errors along with a sacrifice fly helped the Warriors to a early 2-0 advantage. And so now the right-hander, Malika, will battle the leadoff hitter for the Scarlet Hawks, Nick Marcolini, one of the 4 captains on the Scarlet Hawks squad for the 2018-19 season. And the first pitch into Marcolini is in for strike 1. Good pop on that fastball from Malika in the first pitch of the frame. And now the 0-1 pitch. Marcolini trying to check the swing, but they say he goes around and quickly down in the count, 0-2. Malika working quickly here in the at-bat. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's up and away for ball 1. Marcolini through 2 games on the season, batting .286. 2 hits on the year. And now sends a chopper foul down the first base line to keep it at a 1-2 count. No extra base hits yet for Marcolini, but at the top of this lineup for his speed, Marcolini also looks to factor heavily into the back end of this Milford bullpen. 1-2 pitch misses outside. And Marcolini working the count back to even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the next pitch, that is inside. Marcolini able to pull the hands in, and from an 0-2 count, Marcolini has worked it full. Head coach Alex Dion looking on in the third base coach's box. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's in for a called strike 3. Malika able to get that one in at the knees. And so Marcolini down on strikes to open the Milford half of the first, and now here's Shaver. A very good year for Matt last season, and also had a chance to play here at Pheno Field deep into the summer as well, as he was part of the Milford Post-59 Legion team. Saw time at both shortstop and second base for the Legion squad, but primarily a shortstop in the high school year last year, and getting the start at shortstop today. He sends a shallow fly ball out to center field. Michael Devlin, no problem reeling that one in. And it's 2 up and 2 down in the inning. That leaves it up to Colby Perez. We have seen plenty of Colby Perez throughout this 2018-19 school year. Quarterback on the football team in the fall and became the junior captain of the Scarlet Hawks basketball team this past winter. An outstanding athlete. Getting the start at third base today, will be part of the starting rotation for this team. He got the call on the mound against Franklin this past weekend. Battled into the late innings against the Panthers. Here's the pitch from Malika, and it's belted in the air out to center field. Back at first was Devlin, now in a few steps, has it sized up, and he makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Malika able to set down the side in order, and that concludes the first inning of play here from Pheno Field. It remains a 2-0 lead for Foxborough here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Bottom third of the Foxborough order due up in the top half of the second inning. Corsini's first pitch of the frame. That misses for ball one. James Kaiser, the left fielder, leading it off for the Warriors. And the next pitch, missing to bring the count to 2-0. Fairly close pitches to lead off the at-bat. And that one missing well high. One walk for Corsini in the first inning, now falling well behind, and Kaiser had the green light on 3-0. Belts it foul up over the left field bleachers and out of play. And so check that. That was the 3-1 pitch. And now that one missing low for ball four. So Kaiser works the walk. And Foxborough gets their leadoff runner on. Foxborough opening their season last Thursday at home against Canton. In a game that ended up being a slugfest. Canton getting out to a huge lead, but then Foxborough storming back with 7 runs late to make it close, but ultimately Canton was able to escape with a 14-12 win. As now this ball is sent in the air out to left field. Settling underneath it is Carter Scudo to make the catch. And Brian Duncan, the right fielder, retired. And I beg your pardon, that was Kaiser, so they ended up keeping him at the plate. So some disagreement on the call. He ended up hanging in there and ultimately flies out, so my apologies there. Kaiser out on the fly out to left, so 1 out and the base is empty. As now Duncan will stand in as we get everything settled here. This one a little fister out towards the left side, and no one able to make the play. And perhaps Colby Perez venturing out a little bit too far. Ended up shielding that ball from the vision of Matt Shaver, who was at least able to knock it down to keep it on the infield, but could not try the throw to first base. So Duncan reaches on the infield single. And so now Adam Langtot at the plate, the number 9 hitter in the Foxborough lineup with a runner at first base and 1 away. 3 hits in the game now for the Warriors as this one is sent on a line to second base off of Appleby's glove, and no one will be able to track it down. Initially, it looked like that might ricochet right to the second base bag for Shaver, but it ended up taking a hop on the infield dirt and rolling out towards the shortstop position. And so what should have been an easy out clanks off the glove of Justin Appleby, and this Milford infield continues to have all kinds of trouble here in the early innings. That is the 3rd error. So Langtot reaches on the E4. Duncan safely down to second base, and now 2 on with only 1 out for Anthony Malika as we go second time now through the Foxborough order. Corsini in another jam as this ball is fought off foul. It rolls to the backstop. Duncan leading away off of second base, a short lead at first for Langtot. And now a grounder foul over towards third base. Corsini was able to get Malika on a strikeout in the first inning. Would certainly like to do the same here. Has 2 strikes on the batter. Shortstop Thomas Marcicella waiting on deck. Here's the pitch, and it's a chopper foul at the plate. Steady breeze continues to blow out to left center field, but nothing compared to the wind that we experienced covering softball last Thursday. Next pitch into Malika is popped up over towards first base. Bright sunshine over on that side of the field, but Nicholas Ouimet is able to hang in there to make the catch. That holds the runners in place. On the pop out to first, Malika is now 0 for 2. And a 2-on, 2-out chance for Marcicella. And an opportunity for Corsini to possibly get out of this inning unscathed. As he sends a curveball that misses high in for ball 1. And certainly one of the problems for Corsini here through the first 2 innings is he has struggled to get ahead of hitters. We've seen a lot of first pitch balls. Here's the 1-0, and this is going to make its way through the left side of the infield. They'll wave the runner around from third base as Carter Scudo is unable to handle the ball cleanly. He wanted to come up firing, but instead left the ball behind. And so no chance to get Brian Duncan as he rounds third base and comes home with the 3rd Foxborough run. Langtot advances down to second base on the 2-out RBI single for Marcicella. And it is now a 3-0 Warriors lead. Once again, runners at first and second base as ball 1 is issued to the center fielder, Michael Devlin. Devlin has one of the 3 Foxborough runs batted in. Came on a single last inning. It's been a grind for Corsini through these first 2 frames. Faced 6 batters in the first inning and now facing his 6th batter here in the second. The set and the pitch. And that misses away. 3 balls and no strikes the count to Devlin, and this will prompt a mound visit from Tyler Almeida. A couple of captains on this team with a conversation on the pitcher's mound. Corsini, Almeida, Shaver, and Marcolini are the 4 captains this season for the Scarlet Hawks. 4 captains that Coach Alex Dion has a lot of faith in their leadership, their playing ability. Corsini now ready with his 3-0 pitch, and that's in for a strike. Devlin taking all the way. Runners leading away off of first and second on the 3-1 pitch. It's lifted in the air out to center field. Scudo is there and makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. But another run plated for the Foxboro Warriors on the 2-out RBI single for Marcicella, and that makes it a 3-0 Foxboro lead over Milford here on Milford TV. Fairly animated conversation led by head coach Alex Dion with his entire team in front of the third base dugout in between innings. It's been a sloppy start to this one for the Scarlet Hawks. 2 errors in the first inning, another miscue in the second, and also a little bit of lack of concentration for Carter Scudo, and a possible chance to throw out a runner at the plate. Did not get an error, but left that ball behind as he tried to scoop and quickly throw to the plate. So no doubt Coach Dion trying to stress a better focus out of his team moving forward. That pitch misses away, skips past the glove of the catcher, Kyle McGinnis. Defensively for Foxborough, it is McGinnis behind the plate, Joe Cavallari at third, Thomas Marcacella at short, Adam Langtot at second, and Sean Yost at first. Left to right in the outfield, James Kaiser, Michael Devlin, and Brian Duncan. And meanwhile, Anthony Malika cruised through the bottom half of the first inning, setting down the side in order. A 2-ball, 1-strike count now on Tyler Almeida, getting his first Pheno Field at bat of the season. Now takes that pitch inside, so on a 3-1 count. Trying to keep up with the umpire on the balls and strikes. The scoreboard, as usual at this early time of year, not operational as of yet here at Pheno, so bear with me as we try to keep you updated on the balls and strikes throughout the game. But a leadoff walk to Tyler Almeida gives Milford their first base runner. Quick check over at first base as Almeida goes diving back to the bag. Danny Corsini, the next to the plate, digging in on the right side. Swings away at the first pitch and pops it up foul. Over the backstop and out of play. Strike on Corsini. Nicholas Ouimet waits on deck, as this one is grounded slowly to the right side, caught in no man's land to the first and second baseman, but the pitcher able to cover the first base bag to take the throw just in time to get the out of Corsini. Yost and Langtot both going after that ball on the right side, leaving first base wide open, but Malika with the veteran play to back it up at first base. So I believe that ended up going 4-1 on the putout. Or 1-4. 4-1, second base to the pitcher covering the first base bag. And now a quick conversation between pitcher and catcher before we continue. Almeida safely down to second base with now 1 out in the inning. So the big left-handed bat of Nicholas Ouimet now stands in tight on the left side batter's box. And takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Ouimet with 4 hits and 7 at-bats to start the season. So he started off strong. He's scored a couple of runs, has an RBI. Runner in scoring position. Milford trying to get on the scoreboard here after falling behind 3-0. Ouimet now in the driver's seat in the at-bat. The next pitch, that's in for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike now the count. It's pretty wild temperature swings here at the field, feeling a lot warmer when that sun is shining down, but when it's not, it gets chilly here in a hurry, as now Ouimet fouls one hard against the backstop, and that will fill the count. The Milford Parks Department doing an excellent job getting this field in top-notch condition for the first home game of the year. Here's a payoff pitch to Ouimet. Just gets a piece and fouls it off. Especially after a couple of days of rain. Raining through a good chunk of the day on Monday. Some rain moving through late in the day yesterday. Pheno looking as good as ever, as Ouimet now swings and misses. So Malika falling behind, but he's able to come back to get his second strikeout of the game. 2 down now. And so Almeida led off the inning with a walk. He's advanced to second base, but remains there now with 2 outs. And Milford will look for something out of Carter Scudo. And he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Scudo has been flashing on the scene here with Milford Athletics throughout this school year. Really turned some heads with his athleticism on the football field this past fall. At times going out there as a change of pace quarterback along with Colby Perez, and showed some blazing speed, rattling off some long touchdown runs. He's gotten off to a good start with the baseball team as well. And sends a drive now out to left field. This sends Kaiser going back. It's over his head and is going to roll off towards the fence. Scoring with no problem is Tyler Almeida, as Scudo will hold up at second base with an RBI double, and that gets Milford on the scoreboard. It's now 3-1. So right on cue, Carter Scudo showing off that potential. He came into the game batting .600 on the young season. That's already now his 4th hit of the year, his 2nd double, and his first run batted in of his high school career at the varsity level. And Milford now a chance to bring the tying run to the plate in junior Luke Rosa. And the first pitch down and in, a late break for Scudo towards third. Here's the throw, it's not in time. In safely with the feet first slide. Scudo taking the gamble. He had a big secondary lead, and once he saw that ball in the dirt, Scudo taking off and was just able to get in ahead of the throw. Now, that pitch in on the hands, it did not make contact with the bat of Luke Rosa, goes to the backstop, and Scudo crosses the plate with the second Milford run of the inning, and it's now 3-2. So first Scudo advancing on the pass ball, then the wild pitch brings him across the plate. It was tough to tell at first if that had maybe grazed the handle of the bat of Luke Rosa, but he was able to pull the hands in. And that ball skipping on past the catcher, and no problem for Scudo to score. So now the base is empty for Rosa. And he takes that pitch on the outer edge for a strike. Little life now out of the Milford dugout. The next pitch into Rosa is hit hard down the third base line, but foul. Two balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs as Rosa digs back in. Rosa scored a couple of runs on the year, does not yet have a hit as he watches that pitch bounce in, and the count now full. Luke Rosa waiting to make his first start on the mound this season. Had a strong season in the rotation for Milford last year, but here on a 3-2 pitch, he swings and misses to strike out to bring an end to this second inning, but Milford able to get on the board thanks in large part to the work of Carter Scudo. And after 2 full innings now from Pheno Field, it is now Foxborough 3 and Milford 2 here on coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. A 1-run ball game now as we enter into the top of the 3rd inning. And first pitch swinging, Joe Cavallari sends one out to deep left center field. That's going to touch down for a base hit. Marcolini hauls it in, sends the throw back into the cutoff man, but not before Cavallari cruises into second base with a first pitch double. So the cleanup hitter in the Foxborough order, not wasting any time, took that very first pitch he saw against Corsini and drove it in between Marcolini and Scudo. And Kyle McGinnis now aggressively swinging in that first pitch. Corsini, who missed the strike zone with a lot of early pitches and at bats the first time through the order. Now these Foxborough hitters getting aggressive. McGinnis laying off that time on a pitch that Darted too far inside. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. So the Milford offense cutting it back down to a 1-run game. But immediately, Corsini getting himself back into trouble, allowing the leadoff double. He now gets ahead of McGinnis, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Senior back to the set. Here's his pitch. Breaking ball that's grounded back up the middle. Waiting for it is Shaver, sets his feet, fires low again to first base, but this time Ouimet's able to pick it. And McGinnis out on the 6-3 grounder. And on the play, Cavallari able to advance to third base with only 1 out. And Milford will now pull the infield in tight on the grass all the way around, with the first baseman Sean Yost at the plate. And he takes the first pitch for a called strike 1. Yost grounded out to the pitcher his first time up. And now sends this one past the mound and past the drawn-in infield, out into center field for a hit. And the run will cross the plate as Cavallari scores. An RBI single for Sean Yost. And Milford trailing once again by a couple as Foxborough now takes a 4-2 lead. So Milford tried to bring that infield in hopes of cutting down the run at the plate, but it ended up working against them as Appleby was unable to catch up to that ball on the way through the infield. It was Corsini, the only one who had a chance. Once it got past his glove, there was really nothing Appleby could do. So 4-2 now the score. Runner at first base. That runner takes off as the pitch is grounded back up the middle. Corsini snags it. He'll send the throw right on to first base. And so Foxborough, by putting that runner in motion, avoids the potential inning-ending double play as Yost is safely down to second. Kaiser out, 1-3 on the grounder. So once again, Foxborough with a runner in scoring position, this time with 2 away. And a chance now for the number 8 hitter, Brian Duncan. Reached on an infield single his last time up on a bit of a bizarre play on the left side of the infield, with Colby Perez darting out in front of the shortstop. Neither could end up making the play. The ball stayed on the infield. And now this ball laced out to shallow right field, down for a hit. They will wave Yost around from second base. Here comes the throw. They will not send it to the plate. Cut off by Ouimet over at first base. Another 2-out RBI for Foxborough as Duncan drives in the run to make it 5-2 Foxborough. So Milford able to rally for a couple of runs in the bottom of the second inning, but Foxborough grabs those runs right back. RBIs from Yost and now Duncan. And the runner now immediately takes off for second base as this ball is sent right back up the middle. A wide throw again from Shaver. It pulls Ouimet off the bag, and the runner will be safe. So right now, Matt Shaver having all kinds of trouble getting these throws to first base on line. He's had 3 chances at it. All 3 times he sent the throw wide. Milford able to get the out on one of those plays, but this time pulling Ouimet off the bag. He couldn't get back on before the runner arrived safely. So the number 9 man, Adam Lankdot, reaches on now the 4th Milford error in 3 innings. And right now a meeting on the pitcher's mound. Corsini laboring once again, but his defense has not really been there in support so far in this one. A sinking line drive off the bat of Adam Lankdot. It was nearly caught by Corsini on the mound. It ended up getting over his glove, but it was still a playable ball for Shaver in front of the second base bag, but sent the throw wide to first, and so the inning continues for Anthony Malika. He takes his third at bat in the first 3 innings of this game. Foxborough with an opportunity to continue to pad the lead. They've already scored 2 in the inning. They have 2 more on the base paths as Corsini starts off behind Malika. And now a slow roller down the first base line. Ouimet, instead it's Corsini who takes it to the bag just in time to get the out. And again, communication not exactly smooth on the play as both Ouimet and Corsini went after the grounder. Corsini ended up taking charge, scooped it, and was able to get the foot down on the first base bag just in time to get the out to end the inning. But 2 more runs scored in the frame for Foxborough. They now take a 5-2 lead on Milford here on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. 5 runs on 7 hits with no errors for Foxborough. 2 runs on 1 hit and 3 errors for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. Felt like perhaps momentum was turning for Milford after scoring those 2 runs in the bottom of the 2nd inning, but Foxborough able to get them right back in the top half of the 3rd on RBI singles from Sean Yost and Brian Duncan. And it's a 5-2 score with batters 9, 1, and 2 due up for the Hawks. Justin Appleby getting his first at bat of the game, sends that ball just foul down the 3rd base line. Appleby followed by Nick Marcolini and Matt Shaver. Here's the pitch from Malika. And Appleby tries to hold up on the swing, but he goes around. And a strikeout to open this home half of the 3rd inning. That is strikeouts in 3 of the last 4 Milford at-bats. 4 Ks overall in the game now for Malika. And he'll now go 2nd time through the Milford order. Marcolini was one of those strikeout victims back in the bottom of the 1st inning. Takes a rip at this pitch and flares it down the left field line, but that will drop into the bleachers. Not too far away from our action camera down in those left field stands. Marcolini ready once again on the left side. Now too much time taken. He steps out. Here's the pitch. And that's down in the dirt, skips to the backstop. Wind up and the pitch. And that one is sent again towards the backstop right off the end of the bat of Marcolini. The 2-ball, 2-strike count. And the pitch inside. One walk so far today for Malika. It came to lead off last inning. And that run came around to score. Marcolini on the 3-2 pitch sends it foul and out of play. Does appear that Milford has some activity warming up over on the sidelines. Looks to be Nicholas Ouimet, currently in the game at first base, loosening. Here's another payoff pitch, and that's low for ball 4. So the 2nd inning in a row with a walk for Malika, this one coming with 1 out. And good speed on for the Hawks. We'll see if Marcolini will test the arm of Kyle McGinnis behind the dish. Shaver up now for the Hawks, but before he sees a pitch, we'll see a check over at first base on Marcolini. Matt Shaver leading the team in runs batted in through the first 2 games of the season, 4 RBI through 2 games for Shaver. Came into the game today batting .375. Shaky defense for Shaver, looking to atone for it with some good work at the plate. Malika from the stretch, and the pitch is popped up on the infield. Waiting for it to come down is the third baseman, and it drops out of the glove, but fortunately, Foxborough able to get the out down to second base. Cavallari fighting the sun. But in the end, it did not matter as they're able to get the out at second. So at the end of the day, that will go in the books as a fielder's choice for Shaver, with the out recorded at second. So Shaver now the 2-out base runner with Colby Perez at the plate. And he takes the first pitch for strike 1. Perez flew out to center field back in the first inning. Of course, the key this season offensively for Milford is how do they fill the void left behind by really what you could argue is one of the top hitters in the history of this Milford baseball program in Aiden Wild. Wild in his freshman year batting over .500 for the season, had batting averages regularly well up over the .400 mark. Excellent power, solid fielder on the left side. Certainly a glaring hole going into this season, looking for the rest of the lineup to do what they can to fill those shoes. But in the meantime, Perez with a pop-up on the infield, and that one getting caught to conclude things here in the third inning. So Milford unable to do anything with that 1-out walk. 3 innings in the books from Pheno Field, 5-2. Foxborough with the lead over Milford on Milford TV. Not a great stat line for Danny Corsini so far in this one. 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 7 hits. But again, the damage really compounded in this game so far due to the defense or lack thereof on the infield for the Scarlet Hawks. 4 errors through the first 3 innings. Trying to clean things up defensively as the ball game goes along. Corsini able to deal in strike 1 to Thomas Marcicella, who now sends one in the air out to right center field. Over goes Rosa, more in straightaway right, able to make the catch for out number 1. Michael Devlin now to the plate. One of 5 players with runs batted in the game. Marcicella, Devlin, Cavallari, Yost, and Duncan all driving in single runs through the first 3 innings. We talked about it right off the top. Foxborough, despite that 0-3 start, we'll get to that in a moment as this ball is hit out towards the line in left field. It stays in fair territory. Scudo can't make the catch. Now firing into second base. The throw again gets away. And meanwhile, Michael Devlin is going to end up at third base. On a little flare down the left field line, Carter Scudo traveling towards the line, got there in time, couldn't make the catch. Fired quickly back onto second base, and Devlin, just with an absolutely outstanding read, could see that that ball was going to skip past second base, just kept on running, and was able to get himself to third base with only 1 out. Terrific base running by Michael Devlin. And Milford is again forced to bring the infield in. As ball 1 is sent in to Joe Cavallari. And now this ball sent softly to shortstop. Shaver thought about sending the throw to the plate, instead fires to first. Shaver perhaps a little bit gun shy after the throws have been a little bit offline from the shortstop so far today. He was in good position to fire to the plate, but ultimately decided to go the safe route to first. So Cavalieri out on the 6-3 grounder, but he will collect a run batted in as Devlin crosses the plate. And now first pitch swinging, Kyle McGinnis sends one out to right field, and a lunging catch is made by Luke Rosa, taking care of 2 outs in the inning. So the top of the 4th comes to a conclusion, but not before Foxborough plates yet another run. They've been able to score in each of the first 4 innings so far today, and now taking a 6-2 lead over the Milford Scarlet Hawks here on Milford TV. This is going to be a game that defensively Milford's going to want to put in the rearview mirror as quickly as possible. By my scoring, 6 errors now in the game. Revisiting that play out in left field last inning, we'll do so after this first pitch into Tyler Almeida to lead off the home half of the 4th. It's taken on the outside corner for strike 1. Scudo getting underneath that ball, unable to secure the catch. So an error there, and then likely a second error on Scudo as his throw into second base was offline, and that allowed Devlin to advance to third before ultimately crossing the plate on the RBI ground out from Cavalieri. So 2 errors charged to Scudo. And again, we'll confer with the dugout on the official scoring from the game after the fact, but by my account, 2 errors in the first, single errors in the second and third, and then 2 more errors in the 4th. Give Milford a grand total of on the day of 6. Malika yanking that pitch up and away. Tyler Almeida with his second plate appearance of the day. He walked to lead off the second inning, came around to score in the frame, and takes a strike that apparently grazed the outside part of the plate. McGinnis really had to reach for that one, a gift strike call. And now this pitch drops in low for ball 4, so for the second straight at bat, Almeida works a walk. It's the second time he's walked to lead off an inning. And now Danny Corsini up. Grounded out 4-1 his first time up. Hoping for some success at the plate after he's had a very frustrating day on the pitcher's mound. Again, we talked about that stat line. It should look a whole lot better than it does. He's really gotten very little support from his defense so far today. Now takes a pitch high. And meanwhile, after a leadoff walk and now 2 pitches missing the zone to Corsini, we'll see a mound visit on the Foxborough side. Malika with the 1 trouble inning in the second, in which he allowed that leadoff walk to Almeida and then eventually an RBI double to Carter Scudo. Scudo would then come around to score after a passed ball and a wild pitch. It's the only damage done by Milford so far today. Short lead at first for Almeida. He doesn't go as the pitch misses high to Corsini. Malika sets. And the pitch. That misses, gets away from the catcher, and that allows Almeida to move on down to second base. So now a 3-ball, no strike count on the batter. As we get our strongest gust of wind of the day, still blowing straight to the outfield as the pitch misses for ball 4, and it's back-to-back walks for Malika. He's had some long waits through the top halves of these innings. A lot of lengthy appearances at the plate for Foxborough today. Perhaps working against Malika, getting into a good rhythm. Again, he's really limited the damage that Milford's been able to do so far today as he spins Ouimet off the plate with ball 1. 2 on with nobody out. Good opportunity here for Milford to climb back into this one. As again, Ouimet is backed off the plate. And the count is 2-0, and right now, Malika really struggling to find the strike zone. And if you are these Milford hitters, at this point, you've really got to force him to prove he can throw a strike. Here's the 2-0, and that's taken high for ball 3. Carter Scudo, the sophomore, waiting on deck. Big secondary lead for Tyler Almeida at second base, as that pitch just snuck in on the outer edge. Now ready with the 3-1 offering. Ouimet swings away and sends it sky high down the first base line. Pitcher and catcher both in the neighborhood, and Malika is the one who goes for it and cannot make the catch. So the catcher giving way to the pitcher on that fly ball twisting around in the breeze. Malika had to dive for it, couldn't make the catch, and Nicholas Ouimet right now fortunate to still be up there. Now with a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Ouimet did strike out in his first at bat, so we'll see if the runners go. They hold as the pitch misses badly outside for ball 4, and Anthony Malika has now walked the bases loaded. And right now, Foxborough now scrambling to get an arm loose in the bullpen. It's Cameron Prescott who starts to throw, but right now this is Malika's game with now Scudo at the dish. And Carter takes the first pitch at the bottom of the zone for strike 1. Carter with the best swing of the day off of Anthony Malika on that RBI double back in the second inning. Now takes a pitch that misses up and away, and Malika right now looks like he is suddenly out of gas. A Milford runner at every base with nobody out here in the 4th. Here's the 1-1, and that is in for strike 2. Then had Scudo jackknifing out of the way. The home plate umpires had pretty big strike zone, especially to that side of the plate. So now a 1-2 pitch on the way, and that drops in the dirt. McGinnis able to block it out in front of the plate. And the count now even at 2-2. Fairly big gap out in left center field for Scudo. Of course, tons of territory in this Fino outfield. Here is the 2-2 pitch, and that is in for a called strike 3. So Malika finds his best pitch of the inning, dots the outside corner to get Scudo. Perfect time for his 5th strikeout. 1 down in the inning. Runners frozen on the base paths now for Luke Rosa. And Rosa takes the first pitch inside for ball 1. Rosa struck out swinging to end the second inning. Now swings at this pitch and drives it in the air out to left field. Underneath it is Kaiser. He makes the catch. Tagging at third base is Almeida. He will score. A sacrifice fly for Luke Rosa. Sounded good off the bat, but just did not travel. And so Milford gets 1 as Almeida comes in. Corsini remains at second. Ouimet at first now with 2 outs. So Milford really presented with a golden opportunity in this inning. Certainly consider it a squander if they could only plate the 1. So looking for something here out of the number 9 hitter, Justin Appleby, who takes a pitch low for a ball. Malika has been laboring, but now has 2 outs. The righty to the set. Here's the pitch. And it swung on and missed. Late on the cut was Appleby. Justin struck out swinging in the 3rd inning. And now Malika steps off, wants to go through the signs again with his catcher. Everyone's standing outside of the Milford dugout hoping to see this rally continue. It's now a 6-3 game as that pitch misses inside. All of this happening here in the fourth inning without the benefit of a Milford hit. The Hawks with just one hit so far in this game. And that pitch high. So 3-ball, 1-strike count on Appleby with Nick Marcolini in the top of the order lurking on deck. Appleby granted time. Clouds once again giving way to some bright sunshine splashing across pretty much the entire playing surface. As right now, brief conversation going on between Coach Dion and the home plate umpire. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and it's waved at and missed, an off-balance swing for Appleby. And so it is a full count. We'll see Corsini and Ouimet off on the pitch here. The runners go. The 3-2 pitch is in the dirt for ball 4. McGinnis could not find it at first, but eventually picks it up as Justin Appleby trots down to first base on the 4th walk of this inning for Malika. And that will end up being the day for the Foxborough starting pitcher. And just 1 run surrendered in this inning, but after his 4th walk, Coach Suez making the call to the bullpen, so we will see a pitching change here as Milford once again has the bases loaded now with 2 outs in the inning. And their leadoff hitter, Nick Marcolini, due up. Will pause for the pitching change. More to come in a moment here on Milford TV. The new pitcher on for the Foxboro Warriors is Cameron Prescott. The righty takes over for the starter, Anthony Malika, who ended up going 3 2/3 innings. He only allowed 1 hit, but has surrendered 3 runs so far to the Scarlet Hawks. And just a strange outing for Malika. 5 strikeouts in the game, but 6 walks, 4 of them coming in this inning alone. And that ultimately caused him to have the early exit. So Prescott inherits a bases-loaded 2-out situation. Milford scoring a run in this inning on a sacrifice fly. Now the base is reloaded with 2 down for Nick Marcolini. He worked one of those 6 walks off of Malika back in the 3rd inning. A 3-run lead for the Warriors, so Milford with the tying runs on, the go-ahead run at the plate. And a big swing and a miss for Nick Marcolini to open this at bat. Prescott winds and fires. That pitch is going to grab a piece of Marcolini. He will head down to first base, and that forces in a run. The bases loaded, hit by pitch. Right now, Milford will take runs any way they can get them. So Corsini crosses the plate to make it 6-4. And so now it's Ouimet at 3rd, Appleby at 2nd, Marcolini at 1st, and Matt Shaver takes a pitch low for ball 1. And the Milford bench right now fully engaged. They have managed to send 7 batters to the plate in this inning, with none of them collecting hits, and yet a 2-run rally so far and looking for more. Shaver hoping to come through with a big knock. Here is the 1-0 pitch. And a big break on that curveball. Drops in for a strike to even the count. Runners leading off of every base once again for the Scarlet Hawks. Shaver ready to see the 1-1 pitch. And again, the breaking ball in there for strike 2. Steady diet of curveballs here to Shaver. Prescott now ready to deliver his 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. And that one fouled away. Shaver able to get a piece. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Some fans have slowly started to trickle in here to Pheno the later into the afternoon we've gotten. Looking to see a big hit here for the home team. Here comes another 1-2 pitch. And Shaver taps it out in front of the plate. It's McGinnis who picks it up, fires to first base, in and out of the glove of the first baseman. And now no one can find the ball. And finally picking it up behind the first base bag is Yost. But 2 runs will come home meanwhile for the Scarlet Hawks. And that's going to now tie this game up at 6. So how about that? Just a little dribbler in front of the plate. Took a long time for McGinnis to get to it, then sent a low throw to first base. Yost couldn't hang on. And Milford, everyone off on contact. 2 runs were able to come home as that ball ended up rolling maybe about 3 or 4 feet behind the first base bag. Took Yost a long time to find it. And so now it's runners at the corners with 2 down, and a very early swing from Colby Perez. So the first Foxborough error of the day, charged to the catcher as Shaver reaches. And now Perez down in an 0-2 hole. So Ouimet and Appleby were both able to score. Marcolini now the lead runner at third base. The runner takes off from first. The 0-2 pitch into Perez misses outside. And no throw down to second base. So now a 1-2 count. And 2 runners in scoring position as Shaver steals second. Milford batting around here in the 4th inning. Still no hits, but they have been able to tie this game up. Here's the 1-2, and that fastball misses outside. 4 walks, a hit by pitch, and an errant throw on the catcher. The sacrifice fly mixed in. Milford now looking to take the lead as the 2-2 pitch comes in, and that breaks back towards the plate. Prescott showed a strong mix of off-speed pitches in that inning, and so that strikeout brings an end to the bottom of the 4th, but not before Milford is able to score 4 times. And after 4 full innings of play here from Pheno Field, we are all knotted up at 6 on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Well, it is a brand new ball game now as we start the top half of the 5th inning, all tied up at 6. It's been contrasting styles by these 2 teams to get to their 6 runs. Foxborough with 6 runs on 7 hits. Milford 6 runs on just 1 hit. Managed to send 9 batters to the plate last inning, scoring 4 times without collecting a single hit in the frame. And Anthony Malika with those 4 walks before he was chased from the game. All 4 of those walks came around to score. So the starter for the Warriors really shooting himself in the foot. Losing his command in a hurry. Milford taking advantage. So all knotted up as we now begin the 5th inning. And first pitch swinging. This ball popped up out into shallow center field. A long run for Marcolini, but he's able to make his way in to make the catch just a few feet outside of the infield dirt. Sean Yost, the first baseman for Foxborough, first pitch swinging, pops out to center. And an easy first out for Danny Corsini. Now James Kaiser, he takes a pitch outside. Kaiser, one of just 2 Foxborough batters that has not yet reached base in this game. Anthony Malika is the other. Fly out to left field in the 2nd and a ground out back to the mound in the 3rd. But he's now well ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. And that time Corsini able to grab the corner. Brian Duncan waits on deck. As now this ball is hit in the air again out to center. This time racing back is Marcolini, and he's able to make the over-the-shoulder grab. We talked about the speed of Marcolini. Makes him a real asset out in center field. Tons of territory. But he's shown off his wheels coming in, and that time going out. And a chance now perhaps to make a third put out in the inning. Goes into the dive, but cannot make the catch. The ball rolls off behind. And now racing for second base and getting there standing up is Brian Duncan. So Foxborough peppering Marcolini in this inning. He was able to make the first 2 outs easily. But Duncan sending that sinking liner out to shallow center. Marcolini into the dive, but just could not hang on. So we'll put that in the books as a single, and then an error that allowed Duncan to reach second base, as now the number 9 batter pops one up on the left side of the infield. Playable for Colby Perez. He makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. And so in the end, that 2-out base runner proves to be harmless. And that sends us on to the bottom of the 5th inning now here in Milford. It is still Milford 6 and Foxborough 6 here on Milford TV. Some defensive changes for the Foxboro Warriors. We'll get to them as the inning goes along. And the man who started that rally in the bottom of the 4th inning, meanwhile, will pace this home half of the 5th for the Scarlet Hawks, Tyler Almeida. He's walked twice and scored twice today. Now a big swing and a miss. Cameron Prescott continues to work on the mound. He came in relief to finish off last inning. Anthony Malika is still out there. He now plays shortstop, with Thomas Marcacella now moving over to second base. As that pitch drops in the dirt, kicks away towards the first base dugout. Zach Jenkins, meanwhile, who came into the game finishing off the top half of the 5th with that pop out, as now Almeida sends one out to right field. A diving attempt for the right fielder, Brian Duncan. Does he hang on to it? Yes, indeed, says the umpire. A diving catch made out there in right field. And so Duncan with the headlong dive, robbing Almeida of a hit. But right now, Almeida remains out at first base. Coach Dion arguing. It appeared that it was the home plate umpire who made the call. So right now, Coach Dion with the conversation continuing with now the infield umpire. Home plate ump has heard enough. You could see Tyler Almeida motioning over at first base that he thought that was a trap, and then Duncan held up the glove with the catch. But it looks like the out call is going to stand. So Almeida now will retreat back to the third base dugout, frustrated as he was robbed of a hit. And so it was indeed the home plate umpire who made the call, despite the fact that the infield umpire was really in much better position to make the call, but deferring to the home plate ump, whose call will stand. So 1 out and the base is empty now for Danny Corsini. Milford fans not liking the call one bit, as now Corsini sends a flare over towards second base. Marcacella makes the catch. So it does appear that with the carousel of position changes defensively for Foxborough, that Michael Devlin is the odd man out. Devlin, who started the day in center field, it is now Jenkins out there in center. We'll try to double check that as the fielders come in at the conclusion of this inning. Two outs and the base is empty for Nicholas Ouimet, who takes a pitch outside. We have not seen a 1-2-3 inning on either side so far today, with the exception of the bottom of the first inning. Milford going in order in the first, in danger now of going in order here in the fifth. Ouimet trying to hang in there. Should he reach, Carter Scudo would be next. The next pitch from Prescott, in for a strike. Ouimet thought he had worked ball 4. But he will stay out there to see another pitch. The lefty Ouimet against the right-handed tossing Cameron Prescott. Here is the pitch, and it's sent high in the air out to right field. Out goes Marcacella. In comes the right fielder Duncan, and it is Duncan who makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So it does indeed end up as a 1-2-3 inning. So Milford cannot score. 5 innings in the book, still 6 apiece here between Milford and Foxborough here on Milford TV. Top of the order bats coming up for the Warriors in the top half of the 6th inning. Starting pitcher for Milford, Danny Corsini, continues to work as Anthony Malika drops the ball in front of Carter Scudo out in left field. A line drive base hit for Malika, his first hit of the day. Started the day as the starting pitcher, now in at shortstop. And now a line drive back up the middle. That's going to sneak through for a base hit off the bat of Marcacella. Scooped up by Nick Marcolini, but 2 pitches and 2 ringing base hits will bring Coach Dion out of the dugout and likely seeing a pitching change here. Hits numbers 8 and 9 on the day against Corsini, and so it looks like Danny will remain in the game at third base as Coach Dion will bring Nick Marcolini in from center field to take over on the mound. So we'll try to sort out the corresponding defensive changes. A quick break and more in this top of the 6th inning when we come back next here on Milford TV. The lefty Nick Marcolini on to pitch here for the Scarlet Hawks in the top of the 6th inning. This is the first appearance of the season on the pitcher's mound for Marcolini, who proved to really be valuable in a late inning relief role last season. Had a chance to get some innings in relief for the Milford Legion team last summer as well. Inheriting a 2-on, no-out situation as Danny Corsini allowed back-to-back singles on just 2 pitches here to start off the 6th inning. And so Corsini exits the mound, remains in the game defensively at third base. Colby Perez moves from third base to second base, and Justin Appleby moves from second base out to center field as that ball is looped over the backstop and clangs off the bleachers just outside the press box. And it's a 0-1 count on Michael Devlin. So again, we were trying to figure out those defensive changes in the outfield for Foxborough in the top half of this inning. So Devlin does indeed remain in the game, so it appears in the end that James Kaiser was the odd man out. So Devlin, Jenkins, and Duncan, the trio in the outfield now for Foxborough. It's certainly not surprising that Devlin remained in there, as of course he was in the number 3 spot in this lineup, has been on base a couple of times, drove in a run in the first inning, had that heads-up base running back in the 4th inning after he sent a ball down the left field line that was dropped by Carter Scudo, then sent an offline throw in towards second base, and on a blooper, Devlin ended up at third base Ultimately came around to score on a ground out to give Foxborough at the time a 6-2 lead, but of course now a 6-all tie. But an opportunity here for Devlin with 2 on and nobody out. Lefty versus lefty matchup as this ball is carved foul off the bat of Devlin. Wind whipping around Pheno Field here as we get later into the evening hours, now approaching 5:30. And a line drive now out to shallow right field, down for a base hit. They'll wave the runner around from second base. Here comes the throw into the plate. It's a good one, and the tag is there, and the runner is out. An outstanding throw from right field by Luke Rosa, cuts down the runner at the plate, and the score remains tied for now. So it'll go in the books as a single for Devlin. He takes second base on the throw into the plate. Malika, who was waved around by the third base coach, gets cut down at the plate. And so 1 out now in the inning with Marcacella at third, Devlin at second, and Milford not messing around with the cleanup hitter, Joe Cavallari. They put him on. Of course, those intentional walks now no longer require the pitches. Right down to first base goes Cavallari, and now bases loaded with 1 out, and the catcher Kyle McGinnis at the plate. A 1 ball, no strike count. 1 out in the inning. And the pitch in for a strike. It is still a 6-6 ball game. Foxborough runners leading away off of each base. And a waving swing and a miss by McGinnis. Marcolini looking for the K. Wind up and the pitch. A little bit low. Big spot in this game. Into the late innings. The next pitch on the way, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3. First strikeout since entering the game for Marcolini. The second out in the frame. The base is still loaded now with 2 outs for the first baseman, Sean Yost. He takes the first pitch low for ball 1. Yost so far today, a ground out on the infield, an RBI single, and a pop out to center. Here's the 1-0, and that is up and in. Looked like Marcolini maybe didn't get that plant foot down as cleanly as he would have liked as he released that pitch. He falls behind Yost 2-0. Here's the next one. That misses outside. Almeida tried to pull it back to the outside corner. Dangerous territory here for Marcolini, down 3-0, nowhere to put Sean Yost. Here's the pitch, and that is in the dirt for ball 4. So after some tough work in the inning to get to 2 outs, Marcolini with the bases loaded walk, and that breaks the deadlock, giving Foxborough the lead back now at 7-6. Marcacella able to cross the plate. Devlin to third, Cavallari down to second. And now a chance for James Kaiser. So Kaiser still in there as well. A lot of moving parts offensively and defensively for Foxborough. We've seen Zach Jenkins enter the game. He took an at-bat last inning, replacing Adam Langtot. So Langtot out of the game. But Kaiser, Devlin, and Duncan all still in there in the outfield, so trying to get all the positions straightened out defensively for the Warriors as these late innings go along. But a big at-bat here for the number 7 hitter, James Kaiser, batting with the bases still loaded for Foxborough after getting a run on the bases loaded free pass to Yost. Another lefty versus lefty matchup as Marcolini's ready with the next pitch. And it's a grounder hit over towards first base, scooped up by Ouimet. He will race to the first base bag, dives for it, and is able to get there just in time for the out. Playing deep over at first base, Ouimet was able to pick it, and then he wins the foot race to the bag just barely to get the out that retires the side. So Foxborough does get one to reclaim the lead. And as we head into the bottom of the 6th inning, it is 7-6 Foxborough over Milford here on Milford TV. So we can confirm now that that outfield alignment for Foxborough is Kaiser in left, Jenkins in center, and Duncan in right. Michael Devlin still in the game, but now in a DH capacity. Prescott, who came on to replace Malika, not hitting. So that DH inserted on the fly mid-game. But meanwhile, Foxborough inserting another run on the scoreboard in that top half of the 6th inning on the bases-loaded walk issued to Sean Yost. So it's a 7-6 Foxborough lead as Milford sends the 7, 8, and 9 spots to the plate against Prescott. 6 outs left in this game to try to mount another comeback. Milford overcoming a 4-run deficit earlier in this game, as Scudo now sends a foul ball that might have grabbed a piece of both the catcher and the umpire. Both coaching staffs moving in towards the plate. Foxborough checking on the home plate umpire. Coach Dion now with a couple of words with his batter. Milford has never led in this game. They trailed it 2-0 after the top of the first. It was a 3-2 game at the conclusion of the 2nd inning. Foxborough unable to jump out to a 6-2 lead before Milford scored 4 times in the 4th inning to tie it. And now Foxborough jumping back in front 7-6. Scudo, Rosa, and Appleby due up in this 6th inning. Here's the next pitch into Scudo, and that's on the outside corner for strike 3. And that leaves Scudo shaking his head. Milford at times has not been thrilled with the strike zone from the home plate umpire today. That's the 2nd time Scudo has struck out looking. So 2 Ks for Prescott since coming into the game. 7 strikeouts in total for Foxborough pitching. And now Luke Rosa takes a look at strike 1. Rosa drove in a run in the 4th inning on a sacrifice fly. And again, Milford with 6 runs on just 1 hit in this game today. It's been an unusual way to manufacture runs. Next pitch on the way from Prescott. And that misses for a ball. Looks like the Warriors will start to get some more work in their bullpen. Phil Thomas warming up. Righty reliever starting to loosen as Rosa swings and misses. But right now, Prescott with things under control in this 6th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts of Scudo and now Rosa. That will leave the inning up to Justin Appleby. He ended up working the fourth and final walk from Anthony Malika in the fourth inning. It was the final batter of the day for the Foxborough starting pitcher here. A pop-up sent foul down the first base line, but that travels out of play. Takes a couple of hops across the vacant Fino concession stand pavilion area. Appleby now in center field after the changes last inning. And Prescott with a breaking ball that doesn't break. It sails over the head of Appleby and goes to the backstop. Prescott with a lot of late life on his pitches. We mentioned it when he initially came on. We've seen a lot of curveballs. Either a cutter or a slider that had late breaking action on it that caught Scudo, caught Colby Perez to end the fourth inning, as now Appleby pops one up out into center field. Zach Jenkins out there. He makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So the second straight 1-2-3 frame for Cameron Prescott, who's done an excellent job out of the bullpen. He has retired the last 7 Milford batters he has faced. And so we will now head on to the 7th inning here at Fino Field, where it remains Foxborough 7 and Milford 6 here on Milford TV. 7 runs on 11 hits with 1 error for Foxborough. Milford 6 runs on 1 hit with 6 errors. Many more errors than hits in the game for Milford, but yet they trail it by just a run. Nick Marcolini back out there for his first full inning of relief. Came on to replace Danny Corsini last inning. Allowed 1 inherited runner to score. And an off-balance swing and a miss for Brian Duncan. Fooled on that pitch. A lot of lefties in this Foxborough lineup. Trying to deal with the left-handed tossing Marcolini. Here's the next pitch. And it's popped up out behind third base. That's trouble. But drifting out towards left where Scudo's able to make the catch. That looked like it was going to drop out in shallow left field as Shaver was racing out. But in the end, Carter Scudo towards the line was able to make the easy catch for the first out of the inning. Tough sky out there right now. Bright sunshine now streaking in from behind right field. Part of right field around to center now encased in some shadows, as now this ball is driven in the air out to left field. Scudo tested again as he makes the catch. Zach Jenkins, in his second at bat since coming into the game, flies out on just 1 pitch. And so Marcolini now looking for a quick conclusion of this inning to give his team a chance in the bottom half of the frame. But first has to deal with the senior captain, Anthony Malika. He swings at the first pitch and taps it foul. Malika, Brian Duncan, and Joe Cavallari, the 3 captains for these Foxboro Warriors. Malika at the plate today has struck out, walked, and struck out, popped out, grounded out to the pitcher, and singled in his last at bat. Now sprays 1 foul. He's down in the count. Marcolini 1 strike away from getting out of this inning with a sorely needed 1-2-3 frame that Milford pitching has not had all day. Here is the pitch, and it's sent out to center field. On the move is Appleby. He makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So it is indeed a 1-2-3 frame. Milford needs a run to tie and 2 to win in the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll see if they can get it done when we come back next here on Milford TV. Last chance for the Scarlet Hawks to mount a comeback. They trail Foxborough 7-6. It's been an uphill battle all day for Milford. They bring the top of the order to the plate, and Nick Marcolini sends a bounding ball to shortstop, but the throw offline from Malika. It travels over towards the first base dugout, and Marcolini will end up at second base to lead off this bottom of the 7th inning. That ball took a nice hop right into the glove of Malika. Looked like it was going to be a routine play, but his throw over to first base pulled Yost away from the bag. He couldn't keep it on the infield. And so a huge error opens the door to a Milford rally here in the 7th, the second Foxborough error. And the tying run in scoring position to open up this frame, and now Matt Shaver, who we mentioned, drove in 4 runs in the first 2 games of the season for Milford. Now a chance to come to the plate as the possible winning run at the dish. So that breaks up the string for Cameron Prescott, who had been impressive, retiring 7 batters in a row. Everybody back up once again, just outside the third base dugout, as now we see a balk called on Prescott that's going to move Marcolini on to third base. So a little bit of a lack of focus there on Prescott, and now he sends the tying run to third base. All of this with no outs recorded in the inning. Milford continuing to prove in this game that you don't necessarily need hits to generate offense. Getting a runner now to third base again without the benefit of a hit. And one of the only balls to leave the infield in this game for Milford was the double by Carter Scudo back in the 2nd inning, which serves as the only Milford hit. So a lot of possibilities here now for the Scarlet Hawks to tie this game with the runner at third and no outs. Now the pitch into Shaver, and that's outside for ball 1. Foxborough with the infield in tight all the way around. Milford bench getting loud as the pitch is in at the knees for a strike to Shaver. Matt today has flown out, reached on a fielder's choice, and reached on an error. Here's the 2-0 pitch. It's hit hard but foul down the first base line. That grabbed a piece of the first base coach for the Scarlet Hawks. Short lead at third base for Marcolini as the pitch is lifted foul and out of play. Shaver hanging in there with 2 strikes. Prescott back to the set now. And the righty's pitch is a tapper sent slowly towards the right side. Marcolini holds. Now a tumble towards first base for Matt Shaver. He's going to reach safely. First baseman, second baseman, and pitcher all went after the ground ball. No one immediately broke for the first base bag. Then it was the second baseman, Marcicella, who ended up trying to field a throw over to first base, made contact with Shaver coming down the line. Both took a tumble. Marcicella looks like he took the worst end of the deal. The coaching staff out to check on him. Coach Dion also over to check on Shaver. Both players seem to be all right. Marcolini held at third base as that ball did not leave the infield, so that will go as an infield hit. So there is your second hit of the game for Milford. Puts Shaver at first base, Marcolini at third, and you'll likely see Shaver take off for second base here. I doubt that McGinnis would chance a throw, especially with the infield still drawn in. Shaver does take off as the pitch is swung on and missed. It gets away from the catcher. Here comes Marcolini to the plate, and he scores to tie this game at 7. It was a waving swing and a miss from Perez. He did not make contact. The pitch ended up in the dirt, skipping away from McGinnis, and Marcolini scores on the wild pitch. And we are tied at 7 Shaver ends up at second base, now representing the winning run in scoring position. And the 0-1 pitch misses. Milford in their 2019 home opener looking for some walk-off magic. Good speed at second base in Shaver. Perez 0 for 3. Takes that pitch on the outside corner to bring the count to 1-2. And Kyle McGinnis now out for a conversation with Prescott. Again, this game tied up at 7. That error really coming back to hurt to open up this inning. Anthony Malika with the errant throw to first base, allowing Marcolini to reach and advance to second. The balk on Prescott moved him along to third, and then the infield base hit. And the wild pitch result in this game tied, and now the winning run in scoring position. Here's the next pitch to Perez. He takes it outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Perez started the day at third base, now playing second. And now the 2-2 pitch, and that misses outside. A couple of tough takes here on these last 2 pitches for Perez, especially with what has been an unclear strike zone throughout the day. At times we've seen some wide strikes to both sides of the plate. But a full count now to Perez. And now the payoff pitch is swung on and missed. So Perez down on strikes. That's the 4th K for Cameron Prescott. But it's just the first out of the inning. And a chance now for Tyler Almeida. And unlikely that Almeida was going to see anything to hit in this at bat, and in the end he'll see no pitches as he gets the intentional walk. No reason to try their luck with the Milford cleanup hitter. The only run that matters is the one at second base, so now Foxborough with some force play options out there with the runners aboard. Danny Corsini at the plate. And Corsini takes the first pitch high for ball 1. So that's now the 7th walk of the day for Foxborough, that time of the intentional variety. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Corsini, and that's in for a strike. Danny today looking for his first hit. He has grounded out, walked, and scored a run, and is also lined out to second. Wind kicking up some dirt around home plate as this ball is hit on the ground deep in the hole at short, smothered by Malika, but he can't regain his balance. Everyone will be safe, and the bases are now loaded. Corsini reaches on the infield base hit. It's highly unlikely that even if Malika had kept his feet, he was going to be able to get a throw to first base in time. And we'll see a full-blown conference now on the pitcher's mound for Foxborough as Milford has the bases loaded yet again. It's Shaver at third, Almeida at second, Corsini at first. Milford needing just 1 run to end this game in positive fashion for these home fans. And the batter will be the first baseman, Nicholas Ouimet. He reached base in the 4th inning on a walk, came around to score. If he walks here, the ball game will end. Would almost be a fitting end to this game, given how Milford has scored the majority of their runs today. And first pitch swinging, Ouimet skies it on the infield. It is Malika who travels behind the pitcher's mound to make the catch. And with just 1 pitch, Ouimet is out number 2. And the runner's forced to hold. And so that will leave the inning up to the underclassman, Carter Scudo. Carter doubled to drive in a run in his first at-bat, and since then has struck out looking twice. Swings at the first pitch and sends it in the air out to right center field. Over comes the center fielder, Jenkins, and the ball drops, and crossing the plate with the winning run is Matt Shaver. And the Scarlet Hawks are going to walk away with an 8-7 victory as Jenkins tracked that ball into the right center field gap, lunged for it, but could not secure it in the glove. And so a walk-off error allows Milford to claim victory here today. Again, seems only fitting. Milford manufacturing their runs in all kinds of unconventional ways, but in the end, a win is a win, and Milford takes this game today over Foxborough by a final score of 8-7. So with the victory, Milford climbs back over 500. They are 2-1 now overall on the season, and the frustration continues for Foxborough as they will now drop to 0-4 on the year. Milford will next be in action coming up on April the 12th as they take on the Hopedale Blue Raiders on the road. They won't be home again until April 18th during the April vacation week. We hope to have that coverage for you here on Milford TV. But that wraps it up here this afternoon. A big thank you. We had a loaded crew on hand here for Milford TV. Mike Sperling, Patrick Garapi, Jerry Maglita, and Igor Freeman all helping out on the broadcast here today. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, Milford walks off with the 8-7 victory over the Foxboro Warriors. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.